Welcome back, Truth Seeker. First things first, yes, I am broadcasting from the closet again. Again, if I'm in the closet, it means that Sweet Lady's studying. On Mondays, she often has big tests. Even though they can't attend school right now, they're still doing everything through online. So tomorrow's the big test day. And the only place I can talk in this entire house without her hearing my voice is in the closet of hers. She's got the nice closet in the house. I just stuff all my clothes into, the dresser drawers. But I don't have that much stuff anyway, so it's not a big deal. As they say, happy life, happy wife. Or is it the other way around? Happy wife, happy life. Anyway, words of wisdom. Anyhow, big picture, you guys. A lot of people come here and they see what I'm doing and they don't really exactly understand what it's about, or like, why do it this way? Again, you guys, all I've wanted people to see since the date of September 11th, 2001, long before I even knew about this code of letters and numbers, all I've ever wanted people to see is that we are being ruled over by tyrants, which is 100% factual. We're lied to for our public education upbringing, if you will. It's a big lie. We're lied to every single day. We're propagandized. We're not educated. We're indoctrinated. I want people to see the reality of the world we live in and to stop seeing it through rose-colored glasses. Because the reason people need to see who we're being ruled over by is because, they could do something really awful to us. And right now they're doing something pretty awful to us, and most people aren't even getting it. A lot of people think the government's just trying to keep them safe, not realizing that they're totally being manipulated, used, and abused by this government right now. This whole coronavirus thing is an agenda, and not to our benefit, as most of us should know. Most people right now are out of work. They can't do what they normally do. My friend's wife, she's getting laid off right now. They can't afford their employees because they have, no revenue coming in. It's going on all over the place. My dad, he's all worried right now. He's older. They've taken away his shifts. He drives a bus. So last week he did a third of his normal shifts. My dad didn't listen to me and take his money out of the stock market like I told him to do a year ago. So now he's all sad because his savings are gone. And he was thinking, man, I'm almost to the finish line. Could get those savings in a couple years. And now they're way down again. And they could go down even further. And, these are the things going on all over this nation right now. And people don't get it. People think there's a viral outbreak that's just, Mother Nature. A bat with some rotten doo-doo that a pig ate and went to a market. And it's not to say that things like that can't happen in the world, but all of the signs are everywhere to show us that this isn't what really happened. It's everywhere. It's Bill Gates 3 years to the day of the first case in the U.S. in Switzerland saying, there could be a viral outbreak in the near future and it could be intentional. And he said it before too, And not to mention the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation just co-hosted Event 201 October 18th, 2019, simulating a coronavirus outbreak that lasts 18 months, kills 65 million people in the world. Tanks world economies. This was a simulation they just did. You can watch it on YouTube. Event 201. Search it. Watch it. You'll watch it and you'll be like, wait a minute, is this a simulation or is this what's going on right now? And again, you guys, the big picture is to get people to open up their eyes. And it really is hard to get people to open up their eyes, but it can be done. There's tons of people who watch my channel who leave a comment. They say, a lot of people try to wake me up, but it was finally your work that did it. And I realize my work appeals to some people, but not all. But the one thing about my work is it is undeniable as long as you don't practice cognitive dissonance or willful ignorance. Because again, what I'm teaching is real knowledge, a real skill, if a skill is the right word, a real set of knowledge that is used by the cabal, the true controllers of government, media, banks, mega corporations, the knowledge that they use every single day to steer this world and the people within it. So again, All I've ever wanted to do from the time of September 11, 2001 on is to get people to see the truth. People don't seem to care about the truth. They seem to just care about what the authorities tell them to think or believe. And that's definitely not the truth. But it's a major problem. The light bulb went off in my head in a big way as a young 18-year-old, just barely 18, September 11th, 2001. I just said, because for me it was just like, God, I was just almost recruited into the military, and the pitch that was used on me, since I said I didn't want to be part of, the United States murder machine, which I understood it to be even before 9/11. I understood that this nation had been involved in a lot of wars that didn't really have anything to do with us. My mom always would say, you see that homeless guy over there? Look at him, another war veteran living on the street. Got his head all messed up in the war because he went over there and he found out he fought for lies, and it ruined his life. Now look at what his nation does for him. Leaves him out on the street. My mom would always tell me stuff like that, so I got it as a young person. And but again, I don't come from much, and the temptation was there a little bit because in the military they give you the pitch, oh, you sign up for us, we'll pay for your education, we'll set you up. And you see a lot of people, they do go the military route and they get their education paid for, and some of them come out and they end up all right, but then a lot of them also end up not all right. The majority of suicides in this nation are people who've gone and served in these wars overseas post 9/11. That's the biggest percentage of people committing suicide. The young soldiers who went over there saw they were fighting for a lie. It messed up their head. They don't want to live anymore. So anyway, just when 9/11 happened, I thought, man, I had nearly just been recruited. I was told that there would never be another war in my lifetime by the recruiter. He was so sincere about it that we'll probably have eternal peace from this point on. Being in the military is going to be a cakewalk. Man, had I taken that advice, I would have been one of the first people shipped over there. Probably would have done, who knows, I might not even be alive still, you know what I mean? But had I gone over there, how many tours would I have had to have done? Would have spent my adult life overseas fighting in these crazy wars, blamed on lies. And, the thing is, what we've been witnessing from 9/11 to this thing right now, these things are all building blocks to something that can be much worse. If there's to be a third world war, that no doubt will be cooked up the same way the first two world wars were. And again, if you haven't read my book, I highly suggest you read it. I show you how they mocked us with the First World War. That story of the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, the car that they show with the assassination, they show you the license plate of that car, and the license plate is the exact number that the war ends on, 11/11. They said World War I ended on 11/11 at the 11th hour. Isn't that a lot of ones for World War I? If we lived on a calendar system that had a 22nd month and 22nd day, you can believe World War II would have ended on 22/22 at the 22nd hour. Because that's how it is. The people who control this world, numbers are everything to them. I caught on to that a long time ago, especially on 9/11. National emergency on 911. Again, the Pentagon, Flight 77, hits the 77-foot tall Pentagon on the 77th meridian, 77 minutes after taking off. I knew there were just number games with the things they did to us. And I didn't know what it was all about until over 10 years of researching, until I got lucky enough to come across the right passage in the right book after going through so many. But again, you guys, the thing is, those of us who are awake, which is nowhere near enough, our job as the awake people is not to get all bummed out because we try to share with our friends and family and they ridicule us and make fun of us and call us names. Our job isn't to get bummed out about that. Our job is to be like, okay, that person who I just tried to help out, they're an asshole. I'm going to move on to the next person. Because there are people in this world who don't know about things that they deserve to know about. Case in point, we were out pounding the pavement today in Little Yakima. And just in the time we were out on the corner, we had, probably two of the best things that happened today when we were out pounding the pavement in Yakima is two interactions we had with homeless people. One homeless dude came by with his guitar and he played a song for us. And he totally got it. He totally got what we were talking about. And then he played a little song for us that he wrote, which was awesome. And then, maybe it was 30 minutes later, a younger homeless dude came by, and he asked if he could have my hat, and I wanted to give it to him, but he already had a hat on, first of all. And I said, you know what, man? I'm going to be back out on this corner pounding pavement, and the next time you see me back here, I'm going to have a hat, and it's going to be for you. I said, I have to keep this one right now because it's the only one I have, and I use it kind of like to promote the message. I felt bad not giving it to him, though, but I gave him some other things he needed, and I had a nice conversation with him, too. And he was wide awake. He knew all about Aleister Crowley, so he got the gematria thing right away. But we were sharing with him all this knowledge about Event 201, and he's a homeless dude, but he had a journal with him, and he was writing down all his notes, and he was all into it. And, again, he was just someone that wanted the knowledge, but wasn't aware of it. And that's our job as people who are awake, to find the people who are willing to listen, who want the information, and help build those numbers. Because we don't need everybody to turn the tide. We just need enough people. And again, think about it. The nation has over 300 million people, right? Over 300 million. How many do you think you would need to show up in the nation's capital out of those 300 million to make a big change? If you had all the people show up who were down for the cause, down for the mission. And let's say you got 1 out of 300 people in the nation. So a fraction of 1% of the people to participate. 1 in 300 is 1 million people in the nation's capital. So again, think about it in terms of percentages. I'm saying we don't even need to get 1% of people. We need to get 1/3 of 1% of people who are willing to do something to make a big change. And maybe they can't all get to the nation's capital, but they could probably get to somewhere significant in their place, their state, their region, that could still be part of this collective event of 1 million people at one time. And this is the type of thing we need to make happen. We need to get a big enough message to reach this group of people and set a date for an action. This is what has to happen in this nation to change the course of things. And if you're out there saying, well, there was a 1 million man march once upon a time and nothing came out of that, that's because the 1 million man march didn't ask anybody to do anything besides just show up. It's got to be more than that. We need 1 million people down for the cause, who are down to stay down for the cause until demands are met. And the demands need to be something that will reach those other 299 plus million people that aren't participating in the event. Like, you're going to put us on the news today, and we're going to explain some things. We're going to get in front of the camera where the other people live. Because you got to realize, the TV is like, that's the thing that actually penetrates these thick skulls of these people who don't listen. If it's not on the TV, it's not real. If it's not from government, it's not real. I need it from a news anchor. I need it from government. It's not real otherwise. That's how so many people think. We try to share information. They're like, where'd you get that, on the internet? Because I only listen to stuff on the nightly news. like that's some intelligent point of view. But anyway, we need like 1 million people to stand in place, be willing to stand there for days if need be until a list of demands are met. Like, we want to go on television and we want to talk about some things. Right now we could all be doing that for Event 201. There's probably at least 1 million people right now stressing out because their business is on the line, or, keeping a roof over their heads on the line, all because of this thing. What if these people found out that, wait a minute, they just did a simulation for this exact scenario? Bill Gates, who was one of the main sponsors of this, did a Netflix documentary 2 weeks later predicting this and talking about how he's after the vaccine to solve this whole problem. So like, Bill Gates had already presented the coming disaster and his coming scenario solution before any of this even happened. And then the first case is in his own backyard, and now they're doing the trial vaccines in Seattle where he is. If you put this information in front of thinking people, even if they're not awake, just people whose brain functions a little bit, they're going to be like, well, wait a minute. And this is what needs to happen. This is what needs to happen. Imagine that I can go on CNN with Anderson Cooper and sit beside him and say, Anderson, 9/11. Did you find anything funny about that day? Oh, you didn't? Well, what about this? Let me run some things by you. And then the types of things I wrote about in my book. Imagine if those things were presented on TV. A lot of people would, and we know how some people are. Some people would be like, oh, come on. That's just a coincidence. But a lot of people would be like, whoa, that is weird. I didn't know. Let me look into that more. Because the news media doesn't ever give information like that to people to make them think about things that they should think about. You know, it's just, this is what it is. This is what it is. And a lot of times this is what it is. It really doesn't make any sense. You think more people would question it, but people are just so used to just getting information from authority and just accepting it. You know, no questioning. Culture has to be changed. And all of this culture comes from our upbringing. It comes from the indoctrination/education system. Because we're put in a classroom, right, from a young age. We're told to pledge allegiance every day. You know, we do that every day, ritual. Pledge allegiance to the flag. We all got a flag in our classroom. And then we get assignments from the authority. And you're going to do this. You're going to follow these steps. You're going to do this today. You're going to follow these instructions. You know? Being told what to do. Following orders. Authority. Flag. Government. School. And then, you know how it was in school. I mean, how many times did we get a lesson like, you are so lucky to be an American. Because you're an American, you live in a nation where you are just so free, and there's other nations in the world where people have no freedom. And every day they get told all these things that aren't true. They call that word propaganda. Most governments use propaganda against their people to control them, but not in America. America, you're just so free. You're so blessed to be here. As a kid, I used to question things like that, because I would think, like, when I was being told that, I'd be like, I wonder if I was in China right now, if I'd be being told that I'm so blessed because I'm in the greatest nation, and I should be lucky I don't live over in America because they tell their people propaganda, or what if I was in Russia or anywhere else? Just seems like what you would do, right? If you were a government, you would tell their people that they're just, they're so fortunate to be in this greatest government there ever was. It just seems so elementary, doesn't it? And for the life of me, I can't tell you why more people don't have these thoughts. You know, I had these thoughts as a young child. I had thoughts about religion. I was raised Lutheran, but I started to realize there were other religions in the world, and I was like, well, if my mom was like Muslim, I'm sure we'd be reading the Quran right now. We'd be learning about Islam. If we were Jewish, we'd be reading the Torah. I didn't even know what the Talmud was until I started doing this research, honestly. That Talmud, it's a well-kept secret. But, again, I mean, there's so many basic things in this world that people just don't think about. And when you think about it, in a world where people don't think, but when you do think about it, you know, it's because, again, the indoctrination system. When we went to classroom, there weren't a lot of opportunities where we were given a piece of paper and the teacher said, just think of something original, think of something so cool and just put it down on paper, be as creative and thoughtful as you can and just blow my socks off. You know, it wasn't like that, right? It's always really structured. Here, you're going to write this, you're going to read this passage and then write the key idea here. You know what I mean? It was just, there wasn't a lot of opportunities to be creative or thoughtful. It was just, can you listen and follow instructions? And that's what kind of society we have. Are you listening to what the news media told you? Are you following instructions? Are you staying in your house today? Are you listening to Will Smith's recent YouTube upload? Good music to quarantine yourself to? It's such a joke, man. It's just such a joke, this day and age we live in, you know? But, again, you guys, this is the big picture. The big picture is to get people to open their minds, to think about things, to see things for what they actually are. You know? Like, without even explaining numbers, I'd love to just be next to Anderson Cooper. I'd say, can you run the tape that you guys ran a million times after September 11th? Can you show me that bill? Yeah, that one right there. Okay, you see how the tower's on fire and the corner of the building's missing? And there's all this fire and smoke coming out of there? Now, Anderson, you guys are telling us on TV that the fuel and the flames weaken the steel that caused this collapse, but look at that building. Am I not mistaken that if the steel weakened, and since that whole corner and side's missing, don't you think it would just make sense based on physics that the top of the building would have snapped off and fell off rather than the whole thing coming down in a perfect demolition. Like, just simple things like that people need to think about because it's a fact. I mean, I was thinking that from the day of 9/11. I was like, look at the way the building fell. It doesn't make any sense. But again, more importantly than that, if we can be lied to like this and wars can be started like this and our lives can be interfered with like this, what else can they do to us? How much worse can it get? We need a news broadcast about the Georgia Guidestones. Again, going back to this idea of 1 million people down for the cause, we're not going to leave until we're on television and getting the word out about these things. There needs to be a news broadcast about the Georgia Guidestones, which are turning 40 years old today. March 22nd, 2020. They've been there since 1980. 40 years today, the Georgia Guidestones have existed. And what percentage of Americans do you think know about the Georgia Guidestones? Do you think 1 in 100 people in America know about the Georgia Guidestones? I bet you it's not even that high. I bet you it's something like 1 in 1,000 at best. I bet not even 1 in 100 people in Georgia know about the Georgia Guidestones. But we should know about those. Who put those massive stone pillars there? Imagine putting that monument there in today's terms. That would cost millions of dollars to put there. That is a huge monument. How big those are, the hauling costs, the construction, all of that, and done in secrecy. Something that's talking about getting rid of 90% of the Earth's population at the time it was there, now even more than 90%. These things need to be acknowledged. People need to know about this. You know, when I learned about the Georgia Guidestones, I had a bad feeling for, I don't even know how long, for a real long time. I was just like, God. Because, you know, just realizing who rules over us. Psychopaths, killers, murderers. That's who truly rules over us. And they have monuments like this. 322. We know what that's all about. Secret society, skull and bones. A symbol of death. And, I mean, again, people need to, even though waking up can be uncomfortable and scary, it's necessary. Because for a lot of people, the day they're going to wake up is going to be the day that it's too late. It's going to be something like what's going on right now, the government doing something in the snap of fingers that puts a lot of people in a bad spot, but then changing that bad spot to an exponentially worse spot. And they could do it to us now. I mean, they could. They already have people in a bad spot. A lot of grocery stores are sold out, so supplies, some people can't come by the basic needs, you know. I just went to get pasta the other day. I was like, man, we're actually low on pasta. I should have got some pasta. The entire pasta section is sold out. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't even get a box of pasta today. And, you know, it makes sense that everyone bought up the pasta because that's a good food to have, right? Because it lasts forever. So it makes sense why everybody bought up the pasta. But again, that's all it takes. It just takes one scare and then boom, just like that, in less than 24 hours, the supplies are gone. If you didn't get it in time, now you're in trouble. But how could they make it worse from here? Pull the power on us? That's what Janet Napolitano said the next 9/11 would be. She said it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. She said the next 9/11 in this nation will be when the power's pulled on us, and they said it'll be, you know, an act of terrorism, just like they blame 9/11 on. Our own government has the ability to turn off the power on us. But that's how they could put us really up, you know, doo-doo creek, by pulling the power. Because now look, everyone's stocked up on all this food. A lot of it's perishable. It's in fridges and in freezers. Pull the power, all that food's gone, right? Now, how are you going to cook your pasta? Go start a campfire outside? Better have some propane tanks. I guess there's plenty of ways to start fire, but you better have materials. And again, Americans just aren't used to being this way. But the thing is, these are the things that are probably going to happen to us at some point. Turning the power off on us, putting us in desperate times. Again, because you have to realize what they've done to us. We are a massive population that don't have local agriculture. You know, pre-industrial revolution, people lived on their land. They grew food on their land. They were self-dependent. You know? We learn in our indoctrination that those were the ways of the past. Those were the ways of the uneducated people, living on the land, growing their own food. That was stuff for peasants. But now you realize, you're like, well, wait a minute. Back then, you couldn't do anything so catastrophic to people. You pull the power on them, you take away all the food, so what? They got all the food in their own backyard. Their neighbors got all the food. They don't have to worry about somebody coming and stealing their food. Their neighbors got food. That's what we have to realize too, you guys. The industrial age took humanity from a reasonable way of living to this new way of living, which, I mean, there's good and bad to all things, but now you just see. Our food supply is controlled by like 5 people, truly. Essentially 5 people at the tops of these mega corporations are controlling the food supply of what? 90% of humanity? What if those 5 people are the people behind the Georgia Guidestones? And they are. You know what I mean? This is what people have to wake up to. A very small group of people control the levers of society that we're all dependent on now. We've allowed too much power to be accumulated in too few hands. Bill Gates, he's one of those 50 people in the U.S. that has as much wealth as 270 million people, a real stat. The 50 wealthiest people in the U.S. have the same wealth as the bottom 270 million. Again, I've said it a million times, I'm going to say it one more time. 50 people's not even a full football team. 270 million don't fit in every sports stadium that exists in this nation. Pro, college, high school. That's an amazing stat. This is how they really could achieve something like what's on the Georgia Guidestones if they wanted to. You know, we got planes that buzz above us and put chemicals in the sky. Do we even know what's raining down on us? Do we even know what's coming down? Is it the slow kill? What is it? What if they decide they want to put in a more lethal dose, a little bit faster kill? They could do it. People aren't even acknowledging what's happening right above their eyes. Everyone can see it every single day. They don't even acknowledge it. This is a major problem. We're having chemicals spread in our skies. We don't know what they are. Well, I know a lot of people are doing, testing and saying what chemicals are showing up in their area, their soil beds that shouldn't be there. So, I mean, there are ideas. It's metals. But again, it's still not entirely clear. Are they spraying the same things in every single area? What are all the consequences of this? It's just, there's so much so wrong right now, and so many people who are so oblivious. So oblivious. I remember, it's been over a decade now. I was just beside myself. I want to say it was like 2005 or 2006. It's hard for me to believe that much time's gone by, but it was around then that Congress and the Senate passed this bill blocking out some sort of chemical that a lot of these food manufacturers were putting in food, some sort of thing for keeping it, shelf life. And our government passed a bill so that we couldn't even know if that was in the food. Some sort of preservative. And to this day it's that way. There's this preservative that they use in all this food, and we don't even, it was so long ago, I can't remember what the name of the preservative is now, but it was a big deal at the time. And I was like, how can they vote for stuff like this? I mean, what is it? If we can't even know what's in there, what is it? Is it the death pill? I mean, what are they putting in there? This is what's going on in this nation. Government keeping us from knowing what preservatives are in our food. Obviously, there's something wrong with it if they have to hide it. But they just get away with it. And at the time I was telling people about this, when it was a current event, people were like, oh, well, it's probably not that big a deal. And why do they have that reaction? Because they're so indoctrinated to think government is here for them. Because they got it through their whole school upbringing. Your government's, you have the best government ever. You're so blessed. Your government would never knock down those buildings and start wars over there for resources. They'd never do that. It's like people don't even understand what their government is. The politicians aren't the government. Those are the puppets on strings. It's powerful people behind them. Bankers, major corporations, etc. They use the government for their business. How do you think this small group of stores took over the nation? You ever drive across America and see what it looks like? I haven't driven across the whole thing, but I've driven a lot Northwest, Southwest. I mean, you drive through the whole thing, you see the same strip malls, the same stores, the same small group, the whole country, everything looks the same. I imagine it's not much different if I drive all the way over to the East Coast. Probably the same group of strip malls, same big stores. You know, there's companies like Kroger that rename their grocery stores this in the Northwest, and this in the Southwest, and this in the South, and this in the Southeast, but it's still all Kroger. You know, it's still all, you know, again, it's like 5 companies that own everything. But the reason these companies got so big and powerful is because they're the ones that, you know, figured out how to, you know, make the alliances with government. Stores like Walmart. Walmart gets its stores paid for with taxpayer dollars. It's crazy. They're one of the most profitable companies in the world. They have all the money in the world to build their own stores, but they don't. They have the government build them for them. Walmart's like a giant welfare queen. You know what I mean? Whenever you see politicians start demonizing poor people who are on welfare, they're the same ones that, you know, do these big welfare deals for these corporations that are already mega rich. You know? Just everything is so ass backwards. Everything is such a scam in this nation. Everything is based in lies and deception. It's so sick. And nobody investigates, nobody thinks about anything because they just got so much mind control when they were younger. Your government's great, you know, pledge allegiance, worship the flag, and follow instructions, and obey authority. And that's how people are. That's how people are. So, you know, from the time of 9/11 up until 2013, I was always pointing out to people things that were wrong with stories. Like, look at this, this, and this. How does this make any sense? And I always made good points, but people would still look at that and they'd shrug their shoulders and be like, well, there could be some explanation. So, I just, after more than a decade of explaining things very clearly to people and getting them to, or trying to get people to think about things that they should think about, I just realized it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to be logical and make good arguments and point out things that are right there on the surface. I knew that there was something about numbers with these people, so I began really looking into what was it about numbers. And I was like, oh, okay, Kabbalah, Gematria, okay, this is where some number stuff comes together. And once I found it, then I was like, well, let me test it out. And sure enough, it all started to make a lot of sense. And you know what I've been doing for the last 7 years. So, anyhow, the big picture. The big picture is, you guys, those of us who are awake need to start doing more to wake up those who aren't and find the people who are awake, but they just need the knowledge put in their lap because they haven't got it yet. And then once we do that, we need to figure out how to organize and network and start really making some moves. And we need to do it now and not later. I've been saying that for a long time, but now people should really see why the time is now. Because right now, a lot of people are in a bad spot. And they shouldn't be. You know, they're in a bad spot because the tyrants who rule this nation, they're making another big move. And I'm guessing that, I've only lived for so long. I'm guessing that, first of all, I don't know how far they're going to go with this thing, but I'm thinking the way the psychopaths work is probably on a 19-year cycle. Because again, we know the psychopaths, they sync up all their holidays with the moon, and the moon's on a 19-year cycle. Every 19 years, it does a perfect reset in the sky. That's why September 11, 2001, that was 2001. Here we are in 2020. 19 years later. So, anyway, we might be going through like a really unpleasant time. And how unpleasant it's going to get, that remains to be seen. Hopefully it's not as bad as like World War III, right? But odds are the majority of us will make it through this hardship. And then there will be another period that's filled with a bunch of, what we expect from living under a nation of liars and psychopaths. But it's not as hardcore as something like September 11th or where they're going with this coronavirus scare, but then there'll be another period of time, and then probably 19 years later, they'll probably orchestrate another really crazy, event. Because remember, that's the way these people work. Order out of chaos. They create the problem so that they can bring about their planned solution, their agenda. That's what they do. 9/11 was all about the excuse so that we could go invade these nations, occupy these territories, extract these resources. And, for example, Afghanistan, that's where a lot of the components come from that are in our computers and phones. 9/11 happened right around the time that, just before, the smartphones ended up in everybody's pocket. So, again, there's a reason for their activities. There's a method to their madness. But the point is, we understand more and more how these people operate, and we can get ahead of their system. But better than getting ahead of their system would just be ending their system, right? So that can be done. People need to realize that. A lot of people think that, they're so powerful, they can't be defeated, it's impossible. A lot of religious people think that they have to wait for the Savior, only the Savior can return and stop them. And remember, religion was what was used to control populations before government existed. So when I start hearing people say, nothing will happen until the Savior returns, I realize that people like that, those same types of people have existed for hundreds of years, waiting for their Savior while Big Brother clamped down on them further and further and harder. So, again, a lot of people are under different types of mind control. If you're one of the people that leaves a comment that you don't support and help do anything because, you're waiting for the Savior, you're entitled to believe and think what you want to think, but all I can say to you is I recognize that you are part of the mind-controlled populace and part of the problem. And, again, it's the reason we're in the position we're in is because of centuries of people like you. So, again, the religious people are no different than the people who believe in government. Again, it's two sides of the same thing. Again, this nation's capital, the United States of America, it used to be the Catholic colony. Now it's it just couldn't be any more clear. Religion, government. So anyway, the reality is, all these people who think nothing can be done, or you got to wait for the Savior, they're not going to do anything. But everyone else who understands the way the cabal operates, who's clued into this code and understands the rituals they go through, you guys are part of the potential solution. You're the people with the knowledge that can educate other people and help them see what's going on and explain what's likely to happen before it does happen. Just like how more than a week ago I said, watch for March 22nd. It's probably the day major cities, states go on lockdown. Exactly what's happening. Just like how we've always been ahead of the news in the years we've been doing this, because we're really understanding how they operate. So if we can continue to improve at what we're already doing, continue to wake up more people, and then get people to organize and act, things can happen. Last weekend, small group of people outside the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation created a buzz through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation among their own employees, because their own employees didn't know about Event 201, which their organization had participated in and co-hosted, simulating the coronavirus outbreak. That created a real buzz in that building. A lot of people learned something. And that's what needs to happen. Now the people who work at that agency, maybe they're all thinking man, I thought I was working at a place where we were really about saving the world. Maybe some of them now are like, man, is this place pretending to be something it isn't? That's exactly what needs to happen on a lot of different levels. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the exact same type of thing within the citizenry of this nation, where all the people right now who think government is just this, the U.S. government's this great honest thing that's just here for them all the time, they need to have their, worldview, put into question. That's how it starts, by putting it into question. That'll happen with, big enough gatherings, big enough awareness campaigns. I kind of want to stop using the word protest. I think what we did last weekend was more of a awareness campaign, shedding light on something that almost nobody knew about. We weren't really protesting. We were there to wake people up to something that no one was talking about. And again, there was only 20 some of us last week. We created a buzz through a big building. And then over the weekend, Event 201 became somewhat viral on Twitter. And I don't think that would have happened if we weren't out there educating about Event 201 at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and then Sunday in Seattle at Pike's Place Market. And of course, it could have been a lot more viral. It could have been a lot more impactful if way more people came out. So realize what I had to do to get people to come out on Friday. I had to print out, $1,000 worth of hoodies and give them away. I'm grateful for everyone who showed up, but I'm guessing a small group of those people would have showed up rather than the group of 20-some if there weren't hoodies. There probably only would have been 4 or 5 people there. And I hate to say that, but I just know that's the way it is. Because look at Sunday. Sunday I didn't have anything to give away, and who showed up? Some of the people who came out Friday, but there weren't really any other new people. I didn't have anything to give away. And why was I able to give away hoodies? Because those of you who've supported this movement and invested resources. The resources you've invested is what was put into those hoodies. It's the same reason we now have a website that I'm paying for. It's costing $1,000 a month, people, and it is picking up. I'm excited to say freetofindtruth.com is picking up. I noticed today there was just post after post after member after member. I was like, cool, this is cool. You guys, freetofindtruth.com. Why can't I get you guys to sign up for this site? Why don't you want to sign up for it? This is the place to share information, to network, to organize. Again, just seeing, the fact that so few people do this, it's just so depressing. It's like, God, do people just watch my YouTube videos to be entertained? Do they just want information for entertainment purposes and then do nothing with it? Because again, if you're not doing anything with the information you have in your head, you're not really helping out. It's great that you're informed and awake, but if you're not doing anything with what's in here, what's the point really? I know some of you say you just want to feel less alone, but I mean, you know what? To feel less alone, let's help build some more numbers. We got to build our numbers. The time is now, you guys. The future is not a guarantee. The future is not a certainty. We don't know exactly where this coronavirus thing's going to go. Like I keep saying, they could just drop it like a bad joke on April Fools, which they're probably not, because now they're extending these city lockdowns to April 6th, April 7th. My dentist appointment, I went to the dentist the other day, and they didn't even notify me that they'd canceled all appointments, but they said that they can't make any new appointments until May. So I was like, okay, so that's the order from Washington State. No new dental appointments until at least May. So, I mean, this could go on for a while. And if the simulation is true, what it says after 6 months, I mean, that'd be really sick. Again, this Event 201 simulation says that after 6 months, which would be around late May, June, they're now saying patient zero is November 17th, so 6 months from that's May 17th. That's the it's leap year, so it'd be the 138th day of the year in a leap year. But anyway, the simulation says after 6 months, that's when this virus takes off and really begins to kill a lot of people in poor communities in mega cities. And what if that's really what they're going to do? Isn't that a reason to step up right now and give it all you got from now until May or June to help get the word out? What if you help reach some people in some mega cities and they help spread the word and it helps save lives? Again, that's ultimately what we're trying to do. Save lives. Prevent the next needless genocide. You have to realize the psychopaths who rule over us, they're the same people who genocided the people that used to live on this continent. And I know some of you will say, Zach, every time you say that, you're just reporting a historical fallacy. There was never any genocide of the natives. When you guys write comments like that, I mean, are you guys what are you based in when you make those statements? There used to be Native Americans here. Seattle's still got a somewhat decent Native American population. You can see the people that used to live here. There's not many of them anymore. These people are killers. Not everything in history is a hoax or fake. People die in wars. Murder is a big part of human history, which is war. War is murder by state, murder by government, murder by religion. from crusades to the world wars. But again, you guys, we should be giving it all we got at this day and age, as bad as things are, as the warnings we've seen. I mean, essentially, that's what I try to lead by example, by being here 7 days a week, putting out content every single day for going on 7 years. I mean, urgency. I've been saying the same thing the whole time, that the time is now. You know, we're ruled over by psychopaths. We don't know exactly where they're taking us, but, you know, things are etched in stone like the Georgia Guidestones. We know what they've done in history. They need to be stopped. They can be stopped. Again, for people who think they can't be stopped, they know they can be stopped, the tyrants. That's why they are taking all these measures to censor the internet. That's why when I was down in Seattle, you know, they sent out a guy to harass us on the corner and scream at the top of his lungs all day that we were Nazis. Every person we tried to interact with, he'd come in and say, you know, you're talking to a real-life Nazi? That's a Nazi right there. You know what I did to him a few times? I had a basket of fruit. I'd say, Jerry, you sound grumpy. You want some fruit? Sometimes I was also mean to him, too, because the guy was driving me nuts. But sometimes I was like, you know what I need to just do? Keep offering him fruit. So, anyway, if they weren't worried about us, they wouldn't be doing anything. They wouldn't censor us. They wouldn't send out people to harass us. You know, they wouldn't burglarize and destroy my house and all the other people that similar things have happened to in history. They know that they can be defeated. That's why they work so hard every single day to stay in the position they are. That's why with their propaganda and the media they control, they're always putting out the same messages, whether it's from a news anchor or a TV show or a movie. But I mean, if you're awake and you turn on the TV, you hear all the time, you hear people like ourselves getting ridiculed with the terminology, conspiracy theorists. Oh, are you one of those types of people that questions things? You know, that's all you have to, that's the taboo thing just in our society right there, just to question anything. If they weren't worried, they wouldn't continually put out the programming, and again, they wouldn't be censoring, and they wouldn't be making all these new laws. They know that they can be defeated. They haven't always ruled the world. They came to rule it by a certain way. And in the same way they came to rule it, they can be, you know, taken out of that position. And honestly, I don't think it would be all that hard. There's not that many of them. There's a lot of us. That's the thing, waking up the many. You know, before we were talking about 1 million people awake. Imagine if we got 10 million people awake. 10 million people to act. That's 3% of the population. Can we get 3% of people to wake up and stand up for their own future? These are the things we got to think about. See, if they put us all in a desperate situation, see, like right now, imagine right now. See, right now it's a shame that we don't have this network established. Because right now a lot of people are in self-quarantine or they're in mandatory quarantine, one of the two. And tomorrow they're not going to work because their job's not in session. It's been closed down by their government because their government says the coronavirus cooties are out there. So right now, if we had a network, we'd be like, look, you guys, look at all this agenda. Tomorrow on Monday, since we can't go to work, what we all need to do is go stand in our communities with signs like Research Event 201, like government. Should it be trusted? Just, you know, signs, phrases, things that need to be said. There's 10 million people tomorrow who aren't going to work that normally would be, and actually a lot more than that. If we had a network, you know, we could reach these people. We could act right now. This can happen, but it's going to take resources. It's going to take a movement. So, you know, the thing is, because we don't have that network right now, that's not going to happen tomorrow. And because we're not organized and we're not informed and we're not educated and we're not linked up, and because we're dependent on Big Brother and media, you know, who knows what's going to happen next? You know what I mean? Because we're not doing the right things, now we're beholden to the tyrants. And if they want, they can create more chaos tomorrow. They can put out some big fear out there. You know, they can tell these people to do anything. It's like King Henry today. King Henry's joke on the street was, if the news media told people to cure the coronavirus, they needed to go buy peanut butter and spread it on their nose, you'd be seeing people just walking all over the streets with Jiffy peanut butter smeared on their face. And as sad as that is, we know it's a fact. If that's what the government put out for their command, that's what you would see people doing. But in a not so funny sense, I mean, they can put out some more fear. They can cause people to go out and do something crazy again. You know? These uneducated people, these gullible people, they're the ones that go out and create nightmares for everyone else. They'll go out and buy up all the supply that, you know, they don't need to be buying up, but then it creates a major inconvenience for everyone else. So, I think I made the point. What the big picture is, why we need to wake up, why we need to organize, why we need to unite, why we need to do something now and not later. Because we don't know how much time we have left. We don't. We don't know when their Georgia Guidestones plan goes into effect. Could be going into effect right now. You know? And if it is, it's still not too late. It's never too late until it's absolutely too late. And it's too late when you don't have any more time left. So, again, you guys, the thing I want to see happen right now, and I'm going to start taking phone calls in a moment, but the thing I want to see happen right now is, again, we raise enough resources to hire a team of people. And it's a small team of people at first that we intend to grow. What I would like to do is have enough resources coming in so that we can pay 4 additional people $4,000 a month. So that's a salary of $48,000 a year. To me, that's a fair salary. You know, it's livable. It's not too much. You can live a comfortable life if you make $1,000 a week, especially if you live modestly. You know, you're not rich, but you're not starving. You're not poor. You're comfortable. And that's how you want people to be. You want them to be comfortable so that they're taken care of, so that they can do their job effectively. So anyway, I want to have enough resources to pay 4 people $4,000 a month. That's $16,000 a month you need in revenue to take care of that. And at this day and age, you have to have health insurance too, so you can tack on another $2,500 a month for the insurance plan to cover those employees. So now you're up to $18,500 a month to have a team of 4 employees. And notice I'm not counting myself. If we do make this organization, I'm going to get paid the exact same rate as everybody else. But here's what I'm telling you I'm willing to do. If the resources come in to take care of the employees and, you know, enough resources to also pound pavement and travel and do things like, the better weather's coming, so, you know, I had to pay $1,000 to make enough hoodies to get 20-some people to come. I'm guessing with $1,000, you can probably get at least 100 t-shirts printed, probably more than 100. And I'm thinking like, man, if we had a team of people organized and we went to an event and we promoted it and we had, let's say, you know, 150 t-shirts printed out and we said, hey, first 150 people that get here, you get this t-shirt today and you're going to help us get this message out. So we got like 150, 200 people on a corner in a park in an area raising awareness, getting a message out that's important. Because again, we saw it in Seattle with a group of 5 people. We were able to get the news station to come out and interview us. You know, we get a big enough group of people, they'll actually put the story on television like they should. But again, these are the types of things that have to happen. And if we have a team of people with skills, like, you know, what I'm good at is working hard and decoding, and I'm somewhat good at presenting. I can do these things, but I don't have technology skills. I don't know how to make like a flashy video with the nice editing, you know, because a lot of times it takes me 30 minutes to explain everything, right? If you could make a video with the right visuals and graphics and turn that 30-minute video into like a 4-minute video, but it's packed with the visuals and words and everything that needs to be there on the screen, that kind of video is more digestible to people. You know, they're spending less time watching it. They're getting it all right there. I need somebody like that in an office with me. It's like, okay, Zach, here, I'm going to take your 30-minute presentation. I'm going to turn it into this. That's what needs to happen. I need another guy who's like, oh, I just heard the key idea that Zach said. I know how to make a really good meme. I'm going to get that viral meme out there. You know, I need a secretary so that all these messages that I get, because you guys, every day between the text messages and the different phone calls and online places, I probably need like 2 secretaries. I would say on an average day, I probably get in the neighborhood of between 300 and 500 messages, not even counting the phone calls. A secretary can't even take care of that all in a day. And then, occasionally I'll scan my email or my text messages. If you get a response from me, in a way, you kind of won the lottery for that day, because I just happen to look and yours happen to be on top. But sometimes I look it up and it's just like somebody going off on me because they're like, "What's wrong with you? I've sent you these 12 great messages in the last week and you haven't responded to a single one." And I'm just like, ugh, I feel bad. It's not that I ignored their last 12 messages, it's just that I didn't have a chance to see them. You know what I mean? There's so much good information flowing at me that I don't even get to see. I know that. I just know that. That's why there has to be more people to help out. That's why there has to be a team of people. My vision is, again, I'll tell you what my vision is, and then I'll tell you what a guy called up and told me yesterday. Again, I like working in a room with people. I like being in a room. You can Skype and talk through a computer. That's kind of nice, but it's just better to be there in person, to me. That's how I am. I'm old school. I imagine coming into work in the morning. We meet around the table. We say, okay, this is what's going on today. Let's really get this message out. And again, more than just putting out the information, but also figuring out a way to get people to interact and do what needs to be done. Say some politicians in the news, like Cuomo, for example. We need to figure out a way to get people to blast Cuomo with, okay, we see what your ritual's really about, like locking down New Rochelle on the anniversary of the release of Outbreak. We need to be blasting Governor Cuomo's office on that day and having other people blast this man so he knows what's up. Because we need to let these people feel the pressure and make them realize that their game is up. We're on to their game. Their game's not going to continue to go on. Feel the heat. Feel the pressure. Some of you are probably thinking, well, if we do that, then they'll switch up their game. Who cares? Their game's already exposed. We know what they've been doing. It doesn't matter if they switch up the game. It's a matter of getting enough people to see the games they've been playing with us and then to end the game. But this is only going to happen if we have more people invested in the effort and doing what needs to be done. And again, I just envision coming into work in the morning, we set the mission. Of course, throughout the day, more things are happening. We're keeping up with that. But as a team, we're exchanging ideas. Okay, we need a meme for this. We need a viral video for this. Be looking for these messages coming in today if people got information on this. And again, if we have enough resources to cover the salary and more resources coming in, we can hire more people. We can build the team bigger. We can travel as a group. Imagine you have that core team of 5 people that can travel. They have the resources to get to where they need to be. Okay, tomorrow we're taking the day off and we're traveling here and we're going to pound the pavement and we're going to get the word out through our networks. We're bringing the t-shirts tomorrow. Hopefully soon we'll have my finished book printed. We're bringing the books to give them out. We're getting people at this place to help us get out the word. And I just know if we're doing that and we're consistent and, we're bringing people together and we're bringing people out to stand against this, we'll bring about change. We will. That's what needs to happen. There's nothing like this happening in the world, what I'm explaining. Yeah, there's been protests before, but there's not like an organized, dedicated cause to exposing government tyranny for what it is. Because honestly, there's not a lot of people in the world with the knowledge that we have here. We have figured out how they stage their rituals, how they play these games. We can expose it like no one else can. And we know that. It's true. It's a fact. We've been doing it for 7 straight years. Almost. Coming up on the 7th straight year. But it's not too far off. And anyway, let me tell you what a guy called up yesterday. Or actually it was 2 days ago now. I had a guy call yesterday, make a generous offer, and 2 days ago another guy called up. So 2 days ago, the first guy calls up and he says, okay, I hear what you're saying about getting this building and a team there. And he goes, I'm in a good financial position. He goes, this is my offer to you. He said, I'm willing to pay the rent for the first year to see how it goes, and then we can talk about it more for there. But he said, I'll cover the rent each month. So essentially what he's saying is I'll invest $1,500 a month to pay for the rent for this building. Again, there's a property available right now, and if we want this property, I have to make an offer by this Friday. I was disappointed to hear that she gave me a deadline. I was thinking because of this whole fiasco that maybe we would have some time, but she tells me that 2 offers have been put in, and I need to give her my offer by this Friday, or she has to go with one of those 2 offers that have been given to her. So somebody is trying to get this property. And I'm sure it's someone who's wealthy, who has money, who can, make it through this, crisis that we're in right now. Because again, this property, there's a lot of things to like about it. The rent is low. It's $1,500 a month for over 6,000 square feet of floor space. The top floor is mostly all remodeled office space. The main level is a restaurant with a kitchen, and it also has a finished basement below. So tons of space in this building that you can do so much with. And again, my vision is the top floor, the office space is Gematria Effect News. We got a place to, make high quality video broadcasts up there. People have an office to work so they can work quietly as a team, as a group. You got all that. And then I'm thinking on that main level, why not set up like a health food restaurant and, promote it with, not only are you getting a healthy meal here, but this is a place you can have a healthy conversation. This is a place where you can come to discuss things that maybe you don't feel safe to discuss in other places. We don't ridicule people here. This is a place for open minds, open ideas. Where does that place exist in the world? Have you ever heard of a restaurant like that? And it might not be an idea that takes off at first. There might not be a lot of, if the food's good and healthy, and realize where this place is, it's in the agricultural center of Washington. So there's all this local produce everywhere. So it's the perfect place to have good local healthy food. So it makes a lot of sense to do that there. And again, the location's right. It's like in the most busy. That's why I can't figure out that the rent's so low. I'm like, how is the rent so low here? I know it's a small town, but this is like the best place in town. And it's not a bad building. So it just seems like the deal of a lifetime. And again, the biggest obstacle to getting that building is paying the woman who owns the lease right now. She's not the building owner. I did talk to the building owner, and the building owner said he's unwilling to sell the building because his goal is to own every property in downtown Yakima, and right now he already owns well over half of them, and he says he wants to give them all to his son. So that's his vision. He's going to buy up the whole city and give it all to his son. And it's crazy how people start thinking like that. But anyway, from what I understand about him, he's not a bad landlord. For example, the woman who has the place right now, when she first started her business, she struggled a little bit, so he paid all of her utility bills, and then they never worked out another deal, and she's been there for 10 years, and he's paid her utility bills the whole time for her. So, that's a pretty nice deed to do for somebody. So even though he's kind of got this greedy aspect that he wants to own all the real estate, it doesn't sound like he's the worst landlord to have. And so anyway, this building, you got the Gematria Effect News, top floor. You can have this health food restaurant. And honestly, something else I'd like to do if we made this happen is there's a lot of homeless people here. I'd like to set up some sort of program where we also feed the homeless a good meal each day. And if we have enough donations coming in, those are things we can do. So again, I think it's good to do acts of generosity, trying to make a better world. So, and for example, just like how we talked to the 2 homeless people today, they were 2 of the best conversations we had when we were out pounding the pavement. Be nice to those guys come by. One guy's playing his guitar, singing songs for people outside, give him a meal. Another guy wants to learn about gematria. He's like, oh, this is interesting, give him a meal. Of course, you can't give everybody a meal, right? You'll go broke, but you could set up some sort of program, have the homeless register, keep a checklist. They're entitled to 1 free meal each day. So, they're getting 1 nutritious meal. Again, there's just an idea I'm throwing out there. But again, this building, there's just so much that's capable. If you wanted to use the restaurant also to make money, to power the movement, it's totally possible. I was thinking with the basement area. Oh, so the restaurant that's in there right now is mostly a bakery. So they have a lot of ovens. So I was thinking about things you can make with ovens. I just imagine that basement area. What if you cleaned it up a little bit? You put in some arcade machines, some pool tables, and you rented out the basement for birthday parties. Somebody's birthday every single day. That'd be busy. You can rent out the basement, get some pizzas, local ingredients, healthier pizzas than normal, play some games, have a spot for your birthday. So I just see so many potential things that could be done with this building, and it's not that expensive, and we could run Gematria Effect News Studios out of it. And if it was successful, I mean, we could set up the same type of thing in other cities. Wouldn't that be cool? Go city to city with the idea, healthy food, healthy conversations, a place to change culture. Because that's what the movement's got to be about, changing culture, making it okay to talk about things, okay to question things, okay to eat healthy. Because that's the world we live in, right? You get made fun of if you're into health foods. You get made fun of if you question things. Everything is just so backwards. I started eating healthy when I was in high school, and all of my friends started calling me a word you can't say anymore. An FAG. You know, my brother-in-law, who's a doctor, that's what he used to call it, the FAGGOT diet, because I ate mostly vegetables. What's funny is he's had all these health problems. My brother-in-law, who's 20 years older than me and a doctor, and now he's on a strictly vegan diet to cure his health problems. So it's just funny just like watching that happen over the course of a life. 20 years ago, he's making fun of me as the doctor in his late 30s. Now he's eating the way I did 20 years ago, But, this is the vision. And, again, I'm just going to say one more thing, Sometimes I have this thought go through my head of, man, what if I had done things differently? What if in 2013 I'd never posted any of this information on the web after I figured it out? I just kept it to myself, and I had just focused on my business that I had at that time. I had my own medical marijuana business. It was successful. It was constantly growing, more customers, and that was all sabotaged November 15th, 2014, no doubt for doing this work. Not only did they rip off the business, but they took the time to destroy everything in there, like a FU message. And I always just think back, like, had I just continued with the business, just focused on the business, none of that would have happened. Made a lot of money off that business, at least $1,000 a day. So, and again, it was all stolen. I mean, you couldn't put in the banks. An entire safe got walked out with. It's like a team of people really destroyed that place. I should have had the safe bolted in. I'm not even sure that would have kept it in. They probably just would have ripped it out of the bolts. But anyway, I just lost so much. And I just think about if I could go back. If I had just stuck with that business, because I still have the same ideas, I still want to change the world and make something happen. I just imagine how much money I would have right now. I imagine that I'd still have this business that's rolling. I'd be able to finance all the things that I want to do now myself without having to ask other people. But at the same time, it's like, well, now I have a community of followers, and I keep telling them that if they all saw the power of their own dollar, we'd be able to achieve the same thing. But I realize that, that message is falling on deaf ears. I keep saying, can you guys step up and just pledge $1 each a month? And so far about 800 people have heard that message. So thank you very much to those 800 people. But the thousands and thousands of other people who've watched those same videos, nothing. And it's possible that some of those people are young people and they don't have a credit card or any way to pledge $1, and maybe they've asked their parents and their parents are unwilling. That's okay if that's the situation, but I know there's probably a lot of people out there who haven't, and they probably haven't because they tell themselves that, they don't make a difference and their dollar's not going to make a difference. Somebody else will donate the dollar. Again, that's the way the whole world thinks. That's part of our mind conditioning too, is that we have no power, we have no influence. It's going to have to be somebody else that's going to have to do it. That's why nothing gets done. That's why nothing gets done. When I was younger, I used to tell my friends, I was like, we should all eat better because it'll be better for us. And I said, you should research diet because you eat certain ways. It's a lot more resourceful. It has a lot greater environmental footprint. It's a lot more toxic for the world. You eat a lot of these animals. You have to realize there's a lot of animal waste that ends up in rivers and stuff. And my friends would say, oh, yeah, but, it's just you. It's just like, you're hardly making a difference. You're one person. It's like, yeah, but the point is to get a bunch of people to start thinking this way, and then we'll make a big difference because there'll be a bunch of people. But everyone just always, shrugs their shoulders. Oh, come on, it's not going to happen. It's just, that's the way everyone thinks. The world is the way it is. It's always going to be this way. just march along, go with the tide. People are realizing right now, though, the world isn't always going to be the way they thought it was. People actually realized that on September 11th, 2001, too. You know? You can see just how quickly your life can be interrupted, and then the way you thought things were, they're not that way anymore. And then you realize you don't even have control because you have to follow some authority. You have to obey their instruction or else. So, again, the good news is in the last 48 hours, a gentleman stepped up and said he would pay all of the rent for the first month. And I told him I didn't want him to do that unless I saw a commitment from the community, that they could step up and help us get closer to this goal. Again, my goal is to increase the Patreon revenue from where it is right now at $13,300 to $30,030, because then we have enough to pay for 4 employees, benefits, and money for resources to travel and pound pavement and do things like buy a bunch of t-shirts or a bunch of hoodies and get people to come there, because that's what it's got to be. It's got to be a core group of people working full-time, getting the word out, but then also doing events to inspire more people to come out and make things happen, city to city. So with $30,000 a month, that can easily be done. And you know what? I think if we had a $30,000 a month budget, we could create more noise and have a greater impact than these multi-billion-dollar news agencies that just propagandize people. I really think that we can outdo them. We can create a bigger impact. Because, I mean, just look, do you ever notice, like, when these major news things have, like, a live stream on of some news broadcast? They have, like, 3,000 people watching. Whoop-de-doo. It's nothing. I'd have more than that if my channel wasn't censored. You know what I mean? So, anyway, I think I've presented the big picture. I think I've explained what my goals are and why we need to act right now. I've explained how you can help with $1 a month. And for those of you who can pledge more than $1, by all means, you can pick up the slack for somebody else. But again, it would just be so much more powerful if 30,000 people had pledged $1, because you would see that 30,000 pledges at $1 a month. Then I would know there's an army behind us. You know, there's people who are really invested in this, rather than a small group of people who are paying for all the people who, I guess, think that they can't have any impact on the world. You know? And again, if you're one of those people that thinks you can't have an impact, you better start changing the way you think. Otherwise, you are going to be one of the cattle led to slaughter off the cliff, because you're not going to have any other recourse. You're not going to have anybody else out there, you know, standing up and fighting for you when the time is necessary, which is right now. You know? And rather than say somebody else, I mean, you should become part. If you pledge that $1, you're part of this movement. You know? You're fighting for your future. And for all of you saying, well, why should I invest $1 in you when there's all these other truth channels out here? I mean, you can ask that question all you want. But I'll respond to you and say, have you seen anybody else working their ass off 7 days a week, all around the clock, you know, for going on 7 years straight? Have you seen anybody else, like, literally crack the code and get ahead of the news stories before they happen and show you why these things happen on this date and the way these people truly operate? You know, what are the answers to that question? I think I know the answers to that question. So, if anybody wants to call in and share their ideas. Oh, before I say that, I forgot to tell one other thing. Another guy just called in yesterday and said he's willing to invest $150,000 for that woman's buyout price. That's a big investment. Now, he says he's financially well off, so he can afford it. And I told him that I didn't want him to give me any money, because I want to see that people invest in this movement. If this guy comes through and pays the $150,000 and the other guy's paying the rent, okay, great. Now we have the building, but right now I only have so many resources. I could pay like 2 employees a month and have no money to travel. Are we really doing anything different then? If we have 3 people working in a building, I mean, the quality of the videos, and maybe we get the memes happening or you know, more stuff out there, but that's not enough. We need more people. We need a bigger core group of people, and we need resources to pound pavement and, you know, make things happen. So I told those gentlemen that I really appreciate their offer, and I'll be in contact with them before this coming Friday, where I have to make an offer if I'm going to do it. But I got to see people step up and help get this revenue stream up. I don't want a guy to give out this big chunk sum of money and secure this building and then not have anything behind it to make what happen. I said the point, right? If we don't have enough resources to hire employees, we have a big building for almost no purpose. We need a team of people. So, again, $1 a month, you guys. That's 3 cents a day. 3 cents a day for this cause. I'm telling you, be the best investment you ever made if you do it. So if anybody wants to call in, the number is 509-731-0567. Again, 509-731-0567. If anybody has any great ideas on how to inspire people, I am all ears. And if not, we can wrap it up. But again, that number, if you want to call in, 509-731-0567. And I suppose I can post it in the chat real quick. So. Caller?
Yeah, hey Zach, how's it going?
It's going well. What's up?
Hey man, so speaking of part of the movement and doing the Patreon, I'm pretty new. I just found out about you probably about a week ago. And, I have a little business too myself. I was wondering if I could help out by saying maybe people subscribe to the Patreon at a certain level. I could say send them some seeds or, get them some rolling papers, some sort of little thing maybe once a month you could get that would incentivize them to go ahead and help out the Patreon.
Yeah, that's a thing, but then I'm having to send out 1,000 rolling papers or 30,000 rolling papers a month, which would be a job in itself. So.
Yeah, you're right. And, but hey, if anybody out there's listening and thinks, maybe if they want to initially, for the first time, getting on the Patreon, as well as getting some rolling papers, some seeds or something too, I could take care of it myself, I don't mind donating some time towards the movement, get some packages out, doing some mail, little things we could do to help just get people on board and get them moving. It's time for people to wake up.
Sure. Well, and one thing that I do have on the site right now is that if you pledge $1 a month, you can actually get my book on there. You can download it. So you can get my book for $1 if you sign up on that Patreon right now.
See, perfect. So, yeah, man, if there's anything I could help, it's that, if something sounds good like that, I could take care of it somehow. Any way I could help, just reach out, and we'll try and get something going, get some people something physical in their hands. I could try and help out, spread knowledge.
All right, man. All right. I appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks, Eric. Have a good night.
All right, take care, man. See you. Okay. Well, we don't have many callers tonight, so normally the phone line's off the hook, but not tonight. I also see we don't have many people watching, so I feel like in recent days that I've gone into another level of censorship because not many people are getting notifications. And, yeah. All right, I'm checking in with the chat. Kathy says she's donating $20 a month. Thank you, Kathy. Kathy's very generous. What would it take? How many people would we need at $20 a month? That'd be 1,500 people. 1,500 at $20 a month would get us to the goal. Caller?
Hey, Zach. This is Ryan, and hey, man, I fuck with you heavy, and I donate to every single one of your campaigns. When you were going to Louisiana for the LSU deal, I gave $74 for all their campaigns. I gave $47 and $33. I always try and throw, one of those Gematria heavy numbers at you just to, fuck with you a little bit. But, I support you in every way that I can. And, man, I really think you need to take one of these offers that you have on the table. This guy's pledging $150,000. There's other guys pledging to like pay the rent. I'm like, I know that you won't be able to do everything that you want right away, but maybe you get a couple people on the team and then it moves forward a little bit, and then, you know, there's more people putting out work every day, and the movement grows from there. Because to be honest with you, man, I'm on Patreon. I support you every month, $5 a month, and I just don't see the 30 grand happening right away, dog. So I think you should take these offers that you have right now, and 2 more people working full time, then it can grow into that 30 grand a month, more people donating. But I just don't see that happening right away. So I think you got to take advantage of these opportunities right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what you're saying, and I've actually been considering that. It's just the rate of growth for the amount pledged on the Patreon, as much as I've like literally been begging the last few weeks, has been very slow, and I'm just worried that I'm going to get nowhere near the goal at the rate we're going. I mean, we've gotten closer, but it's just, I don't know why more people can't step up and pledge the dollar, because again, we're going to need that monthly stream of revenue. I hear what you're saying. Maybe somebody else will come out of the woodwork and be like, you know what? I got another $150,000 so you can afford those employees for the year. So, yeah, that could be the right thing. I'm going to talk to both of those people. I have until Friday, but I was hoping tonight I could get the word out and see like the revenue stream hopefully grow by like a couple $1,000s. That'd be encouraging. That'd be like, okay, we're getting closer to the goal. If we keep it this, maybe we'll get there. But I also want to say thank you, man, for calling in and saying this, and also for supporting the past campaigns. I really appreciate that, too, so thank you very much.
Of course, brother. I mean, I'll always help out any way that I can. And I totally get what you're saying. I mean, half the people in the chat think that Q is going to, like, they think that coronavirus is actually like a plot by Trump so he can take down the deep state. I mean, half the people are retarded. I mean, they think that the coronavirus is just a scheme for Trump to take down Hillary Clinton. I mean, it's literally bananas. I mean, I get it.
Those comments and stuff, I don't know how many of those are real people and how many of them are bots just spreading like, because I feel like these types of things are put out to sabotage the truth community and just make us look dumb and gullible. I don't know how anyone could believe that really they're gonna shut down the economy, destroy economy, put people out of work to go after a group of pedophiles. Like, how does that even make sense?
No, it makes absolutely no sense at all. And supposedly Tom Hanks is actually under arrest in Australia, and it's just he's faking that he has coronavirus just to because he's actually arrested. Like, dude, give me a break with all that nonsense.
Right, it makes zero sense. So.
Yeah, but yeah, man, I'll keep supporting you any way that I can. And I actually I just started a podcast. It's called Conspiratorial Conspiring. And I've made 1 episode so far talking about Juice WRLD's death because I thought that was one of the most compelling gematria stories of the year.
It was.
And I do some gematria decoding myself as well. But I'd love to have you on at some point and really make like because a lot of my friends make fun of me for the whole gematria thing. They're like, oh, you can make anything equal anything. I'm like, listen, dumbass, it's not like that.
What I always say when people say that is I say, well, can 1 + 1 equal anything then? Because it's a system just like that. If 1 + 1 can equal anything, then I guess your statement's true. But as far as I know, that's not true, so...
Exactly, but I mean, the point is, I'd love to have you on at some point, and just like make like a.
Of course, man. Of course,
like
just
a foolproof case or something.
Of course, just when you want me to come on, you just let me know, man. I'm happy to do that. So.
For sure, brother. All right, have a great night.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, bye.
That's it. Yeah, I always do anybody's show who invites me on. I don't care if they got 5 subscribers or 50,000. Let me see. Okay. Well, not a lot of people are burning up the phone tonight, and I have a feeling that's because a lot of people don't donate, and they feel guilty about calling in if they don't donate. But, yeah, you guys, I mean, to me it's just so disappointing right now. Not that people aren't donating, just that we're at this moment right now and something like this is happening, because that's what I've been talking about. It's eventually going to come, and I hope it doesn't get worse. But it's just like, I mean, in my pipe dreams, I was thinking we would have already shut down the federal government by now. We would have woken up the masses and done something about it. What's up, caller?
Big Zach.
Yeah, what's up, man?
I was hoping I would see some a little wrestling today when you had the little signs out there in Yakima.
You mean since I was out there with the state wrestling champ?
Well, no, I was hoping a Fox News guy would grab at you today.
Oh,
I
well.
love it when you're like, get your hands off me, get your hands off me.
Well, shout out to King Henry. King Henry actually won state in wrestling for Washington State back in his heyday, so they would have been in trouble with King Henry on the block. Yeah.
Oh, was King Henry a guy you interviewed today? Because I didn't watch that much.
King Henry was just who was out there with me in Yakima today, pounding the pavement.
Oh, he's the buddy with you. Okay, cool. Anyway, I'm calling to talk to the 369 listeners. I don't know what percentage of you out there can't afford $1 a month. But why are you here? Seriously, like the other day, I was talking to Zach, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do $1 a day, and I'm going to up that soon too, because you guys this is beyond waking up. I first woke up, it was before 9/11. We had an 87 stock market crash when I was a young guy coming out of college. And that didn't make sense. And then, it's every 10 years. But if the 9/11 didn't wake you up, and you're too young for that, but now Zach wasn't too young for that. I don't know what age group you are. But if you don't have $1 a month, quit coming to this site. Just get out of here. What are you doing, people? This movement has to move. We have to move, and we have to move now, and we can do it. And I'm telling you all, this is serious stuff. And here's how you debunk all this QAnon nonsense. Okay, QAnon, then why is there a Serta commercial? How many years is that, Zach, before he's even elected?
2009.
I mean, there's cartoons and predictive programming on Trump for like decades. He's being interviewed by Oprah Winfrey 20 years. So 20 years before his presidency, they got this QAnon scam all set up. Come on. Numbers trump the Trump.
I think that Oprah interview was 1988, if I'm not mistaken. So that was almost 30 years before.
I mean, yeah, this stuff. And then, like I was saying, Zach, on the Wuhan, you know what's so crazy? In 1981, they do the novel, but they don't add Wuhan till 1985. That shows how planned it is. So what has that got to do with QAnon and people on adrenochrome needing blood or whatever it is? I mean, come on.
Well, it's like the whole Q thing puts out really bad conspiracy theories that just send people in these wild goose chases. And then they ultimately ask people to trust the plan and believe in government. I mean, it's just like everything about Q is wrong. And it's just...
Yeah, stay home, eat popcorn, and enjoy the show.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm the exact opposite
Steal all your money, close all your businesses. And we'll lend you a little money if you want to stay in business. So it's more debt slavery. This whole thing is insane. Now, let me wake up the crowd a little bit, too, to the bigger picture here, because I don't know how much y'all pay attention. But months ago, they started doing these crazy it was like debt repo. They didn't call it QE. It wasn't bailout. It was like 2-day lendings in huge amounts, billions and billions, like week after week. And that was like holding up the house of cards as long as they could for that. And then if you look at the timing of it all, they started the impeachment nonsense. Now, if you think about it, now I don't know how to prove this, but it only makes sense because I just use common sense. They do their stupid impeachment right when the Wuhan is starting over there, the little virus, whatever it is. Doesn't really matter what kind of bioweapon it is, low grade, high grade. It's some kind of controlled weapon. And then we go into Christmas holidays, and Pelosi is going to sit on the impeachment for 3 weeks, right? Remember all that? Well, that's because they could get their little fucking virus brewing, and then we're just sitting here still all through January. You got all this shit going on. We don't even I got a text where I used your information, Zach, to tell a friend to get out of the markets. It's going to all crash February 1st. That's before the impeachment speech where the show must go on, where Pelosi rips up the speech.
Right.
All that shit is show. That's all show for the QAnon crowd. Like, give me a break. This has all been laid out. In the meantime, people don't understand. It's just trillions and trillions of dollars. The Saudi guy flushing the oil markets. You know, all of this is all tied together to just steal money. And here's another thing none of you listeners know. And I can point you in the right direction. I won't now. But there's a woman out there, some of you might know her. She's damn sharp. I've heard her on different shows. Catherine Austin Fitts. She worked for HUD back under the Reagan administration. She started tracing the money when Rumsfeld announced before 9/11, oh, we're missing $2 trillion. That was a hell of a lot of money 19 years ago, and it's still a lot of money, but not like now. She has followed it and uncovered it. The Pentagon has been stealing $1 trillion a year since 9/11. And that's not on the books. That's the little black book. That's off the books. 21 trillion. Well, you know how they make that go away? Like they just did last week. They just blast the market down. They shake everything up. You can't even get enough accountants to figure it out. And they keep stealing the money and then adding more debt. Oh, we'll send you $1,000. That is mockery. Where I live, $1,000 is like chump change. I'm in Southern California. You need 70 grand here, which I make, and I'm broke as hell.
Sure.
But I live here because I love the weather, and I try to go skiing every 10 days. Now they closed the fucking skiing over the virus. Because the skiing is all corporate owned out of Aspen and Vail. It's all fucking Illuminati. It's fucking sick, you guys. Get your dollar together. If you don't have $1 a month, you're a fucking loser. Why are you even listening to this shit?
Well, some of the people, I mean, some of the people might be like teenagers that don't have a credit card, so I get that.
Well,
But
we don't need you anyway. Go lick a toilet.
well, eventually they'll be of age and can help out. I hear what you're saying though, because I know there's a lot.
Here's an idea, Zach. Here's an idea, because your book is awesome, and I sent some money to buy books or whatever. You can make this in a day. Make a little 2-page cliff notes that we can all, and then you had a listener that made a business card, because I'm starting to do it real simple now. Just a quick wake up, and then I show your site. I try to send them the link, and hope it goes from there. Then I had an old friend I got in touch with just the other day out of the blue, and I was like, whoa. And I realized with an event like this, people like him that are pretty smart, that are somewhat open, but they have no idea they've been duped. He said, one thing that I got, it opened it up for me. He goes, I go, do you have any idea what's going on? He goes, all I know is it doesn't feel right. At least events like this get people going, yeah, this doesn't seem right. I mean, I'm driving around delivering down here in this quarantine thing, and at any minute I feel like someone's going to roll up on me, like right out of 1984. Like, I watched that video, and that's so sad that the call for an uprising doesn't get to Gematria, because he's so stuck on his Christianity. And you guys that are stuck on God and the Savior, you got to realize they've used this code to make that religion. I was raised that too. I believe in God, but not in some religion that makes you think that this numerology is evil. It's not money that's evil, it's the love of money.
Oh.
And satanic freaks, I don't know what they are. They're just freaks. Drinking blood or having sacrifices, whatever.
Well, about a call for an uprising, I'd be more inclined to believe that he's a satanic, whatever he is, than he's not a Christian.
He's able to make videos that at least make sense. Like,
well, his videos are so basic and dumbed down. I mean, his channel is worthless in my opinion. But again, the guy's a psychopath. He's uploaded videos saying he wants to murder me and drink my blood. I mean, what kind of Christian says that? So.
Yeah, it's whacked. I mean, but what I'm saying, he has a skill with his little daily 12-minute video. I don't watch them all. I hit the bar and I tap through it, and I just like to see what he does, because he points things out. Like the way he pointed out 1984 was from like the movie from the 50s, and he reviewed that, and that's good wake up stuff. Like, look, guys, this is really happening. But yeah, he's obnoxious, and then he tries to shoot down gematria because it's
Well,
evil.
honestly, man, he watches all my videos. When he was doing his 1984 stuff, he was just copying what I showed. I mean, I don't give that guy any credit. He just regurgitates what other people say. I don't want to talk about other channels, honestly, man, especially a Call for an Uprising, but that's a trash channel, trash human being, another guy who slandered me.
I'm not trying to promote it at all.
It's just the wrong channel to bring up on here, man. The guy's a piece of shit. And there's nothing positive to say about the guy. There's nothing interesting about his work. There's nothing constructive about his work. He regurgitates what other people say. There's no original thought. He's just a loser, man, and I'm going to make that real clear about a Call for an Uprising.
I agree with you, Zach, totally. And like Richie from Boston, another loser. The guy we nicknamed Dog the Bounty Hunter, loser. They are. You're dead on, Zach. If the truth community can't grasp this gematria, what the hell are they doing? I just don't get it. Nothing else makes sense. And I say it to you people that don't get it and can't do a dollar. I'm 57 years old. Yeah, I'm a baby boomer. Boomers, millennials, fuck y'all. That's the dumbest thing ever. We're just people trying to survive, man. I never criticized my parents' generation that they somehow are called the greatest generation, whatever. My parents are off the boat. It's my dad had to escape communism in Hungary and Budapest, and my mom's family was reduced to trying to feed 6 kids off of a bag of potatoes, at the end of World War II. She was a 7-year-old girl in Holland, having to hide under desks being bombed. This shit is real. I still have the shoes that my father escaped over the Hungarian border, into Austria with, okay? This shit is real. People need to wake up and get off your asses and give a goddamn dollar. My God. If 20,000 of you would give $1, I know there's only 300 listening, how fucked up.
That's all. That's the thing too, man. It's just so hard to even reach the people who are subscribed to you because almost no one gets a notification. It's just.
Zach, sorry, but I'm not in civil war. There should easily be like 3 million of us that just baseball bats and pitchforks that should be surrounding Washington tomorrow. We don't need guns. We don't need a civil war. But this is really fucking serious.
Well, it is really serious, man. I mean, people right now. My man King Henry just texted me on my other phone, and he said, "Dude, I just got laid off." His wife's about to get laid off. He just got laid off. So, I mean, it's just like this going on all over the nation. It's like,
Well, I got lucky. I got lucky that I got a job with, I'm on the Jeff Bezos chain. I'm with the Flex driver, where you got to jump through so many hoops to get your work to be an independent driver. I don't even know what that means because California just passed a law where we aren't independent drivers. We have to be employees. I don't know. I don't even understand the law, but we still operate. But there's a whole bill down here in California where all this kind of work has to be employees. Like they're saying Amazon has to give us hours and benefits and this and that, and Amazon's like, that ain't happening. Anyway, I'm lucky I have work. Somehow delivery is in this window. It starts to make me think that Amazon is part of this conspiracy. I saw an article that, if this goes on too long, in a month, it'll be like Costco, Walmart, and Amazon. It'll be the only things left.
That's exactly what they are doing. That's exactly the point I made earlier. The only people that are going to be able to sustain what they're doing are the mega corporations. There'll be fewer small businesses, and the big rich ones will come in and buy out everything else and take up that percentage of the market too. That's exactly what they're doing. That's the point I was making earlier.
And I've seen that shit where the letters in Walmart are like you flip the letters and use them, and it makes up martial for martial law. The letters of, and Sam Walton was like heavily involved with the internment camps back after World War II with the Japanese internment camp.
This is how fascism works, because you have government and mega corporation united making policies to continue to increase their market share, increase their power and influence in the world. That's what's been going on the whole time. It just gets worse and worse. This is a huge power move right now. They're putting out all the regular folks.
Power move, and I think it's a big exercise for control to to see if there's any pushback. And if there's no pushback, they're literally sitting around a table rubbing their hands together and go, can you believe this? They're so fucking dumb. They're so fucking brainwashed. We got them. This is, you hear stuff like that. You can literally walk a herd of sheep right off a cliff.
That's exactly what they're doing right now. So
It's just unreal, and Dak, I can't tell you how much. I mean, it was your work. I didn't get you at first because you blew me out. And I'm kind of smart, but I'm real busy. I got ADD. I got CTE from brain injury. So yeah, I'll snap. But I want to be up there as the guy that can help decode because I know I can do it. I'm smart enough. Jesus Christ, ninth grade. And people also got to wake up. Half this world, if you take the poverty, the third world, and then obviously this country. More than half the human beings on this world are like an 8th grade level. 40-year-old men at an 8th grade level. I mean, it's sick. And I'm seeing it now. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, the mask wearing. Look, I'll tell you this, guy. You don't need a mask unless you are blowing a sneeze or forget the coronavirus. If you want to wear a mask, even if you had a bad flu, whatever coronavirus is, just a bad flu, and if you're admitting and going in public out of common courtesy, you wear a mask. But there's no mask wearing that will prevent you getting it. I'm seeing people that are opening their packages at the front door because they think the virus is alive on their package.
well, that's because the media put out. That's because the media put out that. Well, I'll tell you the other thing that's funny about that in a second, but the media put out the idea that this coronavirus can live outside of a human body for 9 days. I mean, that's the latest information.
That's bullshit.
But if you go back to that Simpsons cartoon, the Simpsons cartoon from May 6, 1993, the guy sneezes into a package, and that's how it first spreads.
Oh, yeah, I remember that cartoon. They were sneezing in a box,
Yeah.
Unreal. And so people believe that, whatever. It's insanity. A cloud will emit by droplet. I don't know how long it'll live. A few hours, maybe, in a certain, if the exact right temperature in a room. And obviously, surfaces in a kitchen, stainless steel, cutting boards. Yeah, all these things are susceptible to a virus for a little while, but not 3 fucking days. And the 6-foot rule now is bizarre because they're like, but it's not outside. People waiting with 6-foot spaces outside with masks on. I swear to God, I'm driving around today. It's like Zombieville. The people that are out are still doing these ridiculous things. I mean, I've had people that I know by face where I pick up my delivery route. Oh, I'm glad you're alive. And I'm like just rolling my eyes like, why wouldn't I be? I mean, are you fucking kidding? Nobody's even dying over this. And I saw some shit online today that out of Italy, half the people dying in Italy are just the regular old people that are dying every day around the world of pneumonias and health problems. And they're just reporting them as coronavirus deaths to jack up the numbers.
That's exactly what they're doing. You just look at the headlines here when people die. If you actually take the time to read the article past the headline, they're saying, this person died from coronavirus and other pre-existing conditions. It's like, okay, wait a minute. So they died from these other conditions they had, but then you also threw in coronavirus in there?
It's just ridiculous. You can go on a bunch of different websites, whether it's the ridiculous WHO, the ridiculous CDC, whoever it is, they're graphically showing you. You can click on any city, any country, how many are infected and how many are died. And if you start to look at that, this thing is nothing. It never even left Wuhan, and now it's over in Wuhan. 20 million people in Beijing, 4 people dead. It didn't even make it, and that's all because of temperature and humidity. I think I sent you that link, the one girl. I mean, yeah, they're using temperature and humidity map from a year ago, but no big deal. There's still no hot zones, even in the right zones. All those zones, Seattle, Italy, northern Iran, even Wuhan, they're all in the right temperature and humidity. And that's ending quick. And even Trump knows that. They all know this. And then you got everybody in a panic over it. It's the most stupid thing I've ever seen. And why, then, if it was so bad, did they keep allowing people to fly? An airplane's the biggest incubator of all. If it's so dangerous, why don't they just shut flights down for 14 days nationwide? Because it's not that dangerous. There's still cruise ships out there, Zach. And it's obvious that they use a cruise ship over all these years. I don't know exactly when they started those norovirus and this virus. They've been using, obviously, these cruise ships as controlled environments to test whatever virus they want. And I just sent you some stuff. I don't know, Zach, you might know this guy. I don't know of him, George Webb. But he started this Wuhan Games cyclist they're claiming is the first corona patient in Wuhan at the end of, in November, end of October after the games. It was some, driver for the military. And, and there you go. It just kind of proves how they use the Wuhan Games for the cover for all these freaks to get together and plan all this crap out. Let's have an annual military Olympics so we can get together. No one will think the different. We'll ride some bikes around and throw some shot puts. And then at our lunch meetings, we'll plan the next virus scam. I mean, come on. This is so obvious. It's like an elementary movie. And I was just seeing some clips today, and I didn't even know it. I just looked, who looks at it? I never watched that crap, Contagion. I guess it came out in 11. And so now it's 9 years from the movie that was released in 11. It's another 9/11. I looked at it for 10 seconds. It's the New York Post or whatever. Matt Damon, another Illuminati specialist. Oh my God! You guys wake up, send $2 because your dollar won't buy anything. I decided to send my daily. If I could spend $1 a day on my Goyim coffee, I think I can spend $1 to help support Zach every day. I'll be up there. I can decode, and I want to organize a little book tour, a monthly book tour around the country. Boom, boom, boom. I did that for 3 years with the long distance company. I can do it. I'm good at it. I can handle a room of 1,000 people, and then we'll take your other guy who wants to do the $100 plates, $100 people. We'll do him. We'll do high-end dinners at night. The next morning we'll do a free meeting, at the hotel room that we can pay for from the expensive dinners. And then you can speak. We'll sell books, and you'll sell your book, and then we'll have it bound up as a physical book. And then we'll have a Cliff Notes version book, whatever you can come up with that,
Sure.
You know Cliff Notes, Zach. 20-page Cliff Notes.
Sure.
That we can then start as a gematria army in our hoodies and our T-shirts. We can start handing out the Cliff Notes. And if they're real dumb, if they're below the 8th grade, we'll give them the 1-page big business card or something, like the 20p points, since 9/11. And on the flip side, the 20 most, I'm thinking we need to start learning the 100 top numbers. Like I now know numbers now. I know some, but I still only know the basics. The 47s, the blah, 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 the 64, the 44 day, circle your calendar once a month and Kenny Rogers will die. It's like fucking clockwork. Wake up.
It is.
You don't run into people. Now, you guys that are 20 don't know this, but I run into people now and then, like I did yesterday. This guy, we were in business 25 years ago. And Zach, I was telling you about this. The girl I met, I sent her an email 10 years ago. She didn't open it on Classmates till last summer. I opened it from 11 years ago. Oh, wow, the 11. Zach, here's another weird organic. I didn't even know my last name has 3 K's in it. And my brother was a hockey player. He loved 11. I didn't even know this till I did it the other day, the organic. Our name has 3 11s right in it, which 11 times 3 is 33. My favorite number from loving Wilt Chamberlain as a little kid, my favorite number is 33, but I'm not a 33rd degree Mason.
Sure.
And my brother has no idea what the 11 is. I'm like, why did you love 11 when you played hockey, Frank? I don't know, just a cool number, like the Twin Towers. And we're both tall. I'm 6'3", 6'4", he's 6'4", And it's just so funny. because we're kind of tall that's kind of tall for the average man, you know.
Sure.
So when we were young, skinny guys, we were like the Twin Towers, but he sucked at basketball, and I was pretty good. Anyway, you know, it goes on and on and on. So that story there. So then the guy we did business with, this girl, I met her through that business, the long distance business back, and actually I've been to Yakima, and she's out of Wenatchee. I met her. I used to do meetings in Wenatchee. And we had downlines up there. I lived in Richfield, Washington, across from Portland. And so this is important here. So out of the blue, and I believe this is the energy I created, and now I met this girl, and it'd be nice, because I'd even like to do like a 20-year reunion in the bedroom, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like an old Rodney Dangerfield, you know? Rodney, you know what I mean? But then I can't even talk to her, because she doesn't believe in evil. She doesn't believe in devil. The last thing she wants to hear about is conspiracy theories in the Matrix. And I'm like, oh, that's sad. How are we going to talk, you know?
Sure.
Well, maybe we don't need to talk. Maybe all we need is some duct tape, you know? So just keep my mouth shut and then, you know, take a Viagra and go to town. Whatever. So then, all of a sudden, out of the blue, I reunited with Joe. He was my business buddy. We made a lot of money, had a lot of fun with this business. I'm not kidding. I looked down on my phone, and there's a picture of Joe and his then girlfriend and me and this girl I'm talking about going, and we were at the big corporate get-together down in Dallas. That guy, by the way, ripped us off, not illegally, just he sold out. He made $900 million 25 years ago selling the company right out from under us. We got a letter, and a month later, our money was gone. I made about $350 grand with that company, a multi-level called XL Communications. It was a legit deal. There were people making like checks $60,000 a month. The guy that I'm talking about, I signed him up. He started making $20,000 a month in a short time. Ended up making more money than me because of the paid plan. He had more connections, so the people he signed up made him more money. But I got to a point 20 years ago where I had $5,000 a month coming in. Just going, you know, there was no electronic money then. You had to go get your check in the mailbox. We called it mailbox money, residuals. Anyway, I looked at my phone. I got a picture of us four. He goes, good memories, buddy. And I'm like, OMG. I thought at first she sent the picture because I've been now texting with her a little bit. But we can't text about much because we can't talk about anything real. Anyway, it was Joe. So the energy that was frequency that was put out with her and I recommunicating, because we talked about Joe, and I talked to Joe the other day, and I turned him on to all this information. He goes, dude, I need to know more about that shit. But then I never did find out why he sent me that picture. Out of the blue, 5 years. I hadn't talked to him in 5 years. Anyway, this shit is so real. You got to wake people up. You got to look for the opportunity. You guys got to get $2 at least. If you can't find $1, just don't even come here anymore. You're a teenager. I don't know. Have fun at home. They're playing your stupid video games, eating your parents' food. Enjoy your good life in your little cage. And you're not millennials. I don't know what you are. If you're younger than millennials, you're this next generation. And that is sad. I saw another video that said, what the hell? They're shutting down the beaches, and kids, whether they're licking toilets or down having fun at the beach, they're not even catching this virus, the younger people, and the government's shutting down the beach. Who owns the fucking beach?
Right.
That ought to be a big eye-opener right there. You got Donald Trump and QAnon shutting down the beach so they can rake up some fucking child molesters? Does that make any sense?
It doesn't.
QAnon.
It does not make any sense.
All the predictive programming years before QAnon was only a year. QAnon surfaced right after Vegas shooting. So, Trump was inaugurated in January, you idiots. You QAnon idiots. Adrenochrome. Going to ruin the world economy so we can get creepy people that drink blood in jail? What? You could have done that. You could have done that a month after you got into office.
Right.
We got enough money to put together a task force and go arrest a bunch of pedophiles. Why does that take this stop. Are you fucking, you QAnons, Zach's right. You said that, I think, last night. The QAnon crowd is like dumber than the sheep that are dumb. At least the sheep don't know how dumb they are.
Yeah, indeed. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for all the
All
support.
right, Zach. Love you like a brother. I plan to be on the team. Sadly, I'll be part of the busting heads department, but no, I'll be part of the group speaking that sets up the speaking for you mostly. I'll give a good intro. I can set that up. I know how to work with the hotels if they're not closed from the virus. We'll set up. I know how to set up the rooms. I know how to get the rooms. I know what days to get the cheap rooms. You know, on the weeknights, get the local crowd. And there we go. It's going to roll. This thing's going to roll. And we'll get a little tour together. We can do one set of T-shirts with a little 12 cities tour like a rock star. A little tour on the back of those T-shirts. That'll be that tour. Then we take a break. Then we'll do another tour. Blah, blah, blah.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Love all the ideas and support, man. You have a good night. Take care.
Yep.
Caller?
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, man. Just wanted to call in here. I was listening actually to the guy that was just calling, and I've been watching your channel for about, I would say 2 weeks now.
Okay.
And, just really been opening up my mind and thinking differently. But I'm definitely going to, go for that $1 a month now. I just got your book, which is, I'm only the second page in, but I'm getting there, now with more time off. I'm definitely doing more research. But I was here earlier in the live stream when you said you were talking about how to grow, and if I had any ideas how you could grow more. One thing that I see big is Twitter. Twitter is huge right now,
Right.
and everybody's using Twitter. Coming from a 22-year-old, I watch YouTube, but if I saw something like this, I would definitely be scrolling on that account, or watching videos, 2-minute videos, 3-minute videos on Twitter.
How long can a video be on Twitter?
Stuff like that.
How long can a video be on Twitter?
I'm not quite sure. I think about 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay, that's something I need to start doing. Yeah, that's a good idea.
That would be great, man, because I would definitely, I've been sharing your YouTube links with my friends, but sometimes it's easier to just open a DM and look at that instead.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, that's a great point. I appreciate that.
For the last guy, he was really passionate about it, and I respect that a lot, because I'm sure if you've been donating and supporting the cause, you probably are more passionate about it, and I just think that a lot of people watch, like myself, we watch and
Caller?
of it, let's say, and I trust it more so.
Right. Well, that's very cool that you've only been watching for 2 weeks and you've already pledged $1. So thank you very much, and I'm glad you found the work, and I'm glad you're taking interest. I'm glad you're already reading the book too. That's awesome, man. So I think you'll enjoy it.
Yes, Zach. Please get on Twitter, please, man. That's gonna make a huge difference.
I do have a Twitter. I just don't use it very often. So I just have to start using it.
I follow it.
Yeah, I got to use it though. So.
But yeah, I'm telling you, man, that's gonna make the difference in the channel. You get Twitter followers, 1,000. At least that should be the first goal with everybody here that's subscribed. So if you're listening, you should definitely go follow his Twitter, and let's start a wave there as well, not just on YouTube. If we get erased here, I'm sure you'll make another channel, Zach. But Twitter, same thing. That would be great to attack on 2 platforms.
Yeah, you're right. I gotta start doing that. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You
All
have
right,
a good night.
All right, yeah, you take care.
Bye.
So Kathy just passed this video or this article on to me from January 12th. Consider that date can be written 12/1 like 121, the number coded all over the coronavirus outbreak, which they blamed on bats. And now see what kind of a disaster this is causing with markets and money. Look at this. This is a mocking you guys how they do this stuff. This was 9 days before the first case was found in the U.S. This fruit bat coin. Caller? Yo.
What's up?
What's up, man?
Hey, man. I've been a long-time patron of you for about a year and a half. Read your book about a year ago. And ever since that, I've always been mind-fucked. But I was just thinking of, good ideas or what it would take for people to wake up or to make an impact, or even donate $1. I mean, if you get that office, and once you get that office and you got that spot, I mean, you got to find out like who's willing to move to Washington, make a difference with themselves. I mean, if anyone, I feel like it's myself. That's why I'm just like, what do you got so much in life going on and this and that? Like, how can you make a difference? Like, I feel like my $5 have not been making too much of an impact. I feel like I could be doing a lot more. So, I mean, I've been starting to decode instead of just, being a bystander. I feel like that's what the problem with everybody is. Everybody becomes a bystander, and they're too afraid to take action, from that check guy even making a threat about saying that they'll come for us as soon as we start speaking against. I mean, if anything, that fuels more fire,
Right.
I just feel like it's going to take somebody like me. Like, my name is Louis. I'm from Chicago. It's going to take, I'm 27, but I'm ready to make a difference in this world, man. And, like, that's what people need to do. I feel like if I'm willing to give up everything I got here to move over there, I'm sure some people would be like, yeah, that's a good idea. I think, I should do it as well. And, I feel like little by little, if, one guy starts moving in, then the next guy would want to move in. And little by little, just build a team at least. And, I know you don't like to ask from your Patreons a lot, but, if your Patreons just raised up a little bit or decided to pitch in a few more bucks, I feel like that would help us sustain in the meantime and build up and work up. And once people see that we're taking action, I feel like more people will wake up and actually start taking action instead of being bystanders watching these videos and not doing anything about it.
Yeah, you could very well be right, and I love all your thoughts, and yeah, I'd love to have you be a part of the community. And the thing is that there's already a number of people who've said that they're willing to relocate, and they've been doing work and helping out, so I have a good amount of people in mind who could come in and fill up that office right away. And that's not to say that you couldn't too, but I mean, the thing is, like you're saying, if we get the ball rolling, it might inspire more people to step up, and maybe we grow our resources really fast, because then the next thing to do would be to establish, more outlets in more cities. So like a spot in Chicago. Chicago is a huge city. There's stuff going on in Chicago all the time. In all the years I've been doing this, there's probably been at least 20 news stories out of Chicago that would have been worth traveling there to pound the pavement for and wake people up. So imagine if we just had an office there, and like you're leading the office in Chicago, and there's a team of 3 or 4 guys in there, and you guys are the core. And when a big thing comes up in Chicago, all of us let's say this happens, and let's say in 3 years' time we have an office here, the original office. We got one in Chicago, we got one in New York, Los Angeles. Imagine so then we have like a network of 20 full-time employees at these offices. When big things happen, we all convene in those cities and do things to bring out people in the city to support. I mean, this is the vision, yeah, to grow it and build the numbers and build the movement and build the awareness. A guy told me, who called in this week, he says he thinks I'm thinking too traditional with the brick and mortar spots, but I don't know. I see having an office and people having the resources to meet together and work together every single day. I see that being really beneficial. So, yeah, I really like your idea and your support, man. And I know there's a lot of people like you and I who want to go full time at this and make a difference, and it can happen, man. So I appreciate your call.
Oh yeah, big time, man. And I mean, it's never about the money, because if you're in the money, you're not in it for the right cause. This is to wake the world up, wake the millennials. Stop this generation from keep fucking up. I mean, all I see is people on Facebook and stuff like reposting tweets or memes, and I'm trying to find creative ways to get memes. I'm trying to think of phrases or attentions to catch people and catch people's mind and get them interested before you present this information, because anytime, of course, I present this information, nobody wants to believe it. It's always too good to be true, or it's like the Matrix part where people decide to take the blue pill or the red pill, and it it's always like people just taking the blue pill. Nobody wants to step out of the world. Nobody wants to step out of the matrix.
Well, more
But,
people are going to be willing. The more there's a bunch of people that are getting hurt right now, and I think there are quite a few people who don't know better who are like, man, this doesn't feel quite right what they're doing. Like, because there's people if we could survey all the random people right now, there's a lot of people who'd be like, yeah, I think more people have died from the flu. Why are they doing this? So, again, there's going to be people who wake up out of this event, and, like, right now is an opportune time to go out and recruit the people who are about to wake up and get them on board with the agenda and get them on board with standing against the agenda. So, that's what I mean. Right now is a really opportune time to help wake people up and to help organize and, make happen what needs to happen to stop this agenda. So, yeah, man, you're right on.
Right on, man. I mean, yeah, I've been supporting you for like I said, about 2 years now. I mean, it's a pain in the ass to see people just, watch your videos but not do anything. It's a bystander. I hate bystanders. That's why for myself, like, that's why I'm decoding stuff every day. I'm watching all the movies that you label out, man. Like, it's, and I'm not a movie person. I'm not a TV person. I hate TV. I hate cable. But, I'm going to watch The Outbreak, The Purge, all those stuff just to, like, decode more stuff and have stuff ready for anyone that's interested in this stuff. Because, man, like, I seen a meme recently that somebody put up that they screenshotted that picture with the date that you showed about The Purge. And I'm just like, I commented on that, and I'm just like, what more do you guys want? And then, like, everybody's just like, oh, it's just a coincidence and stuff like that. And I'm just like, man, people love coincidence, but, they don't take anything seriously. They don't think twice. So, I mean, I'll do whatever it takes, man. I mean, I'm trying my best to spread the word around here in Chicago, and if I could get a group, I mean, that would be awesome.
Indeed, friend. Well, I really appreciate your support and your passion, man, and keep it up. We need people like you, so thank you.
For sure, Zach. I appreciate your work, man. Appreciate your patience with everybody, man. I mean, sure, it's a pain in the ass. You're the only one that has the right to fucking nag about life and about people because, man, you're always dead on. I mean, what more do people want, You've been right for, like, almost every single day, What more could people ask for?
Well, more important than that, man, people should see that I work hard, man. I work real hard for people,
Hell
so...
yeah.
Anyway, I appreciate it, friend. I'm gonna wrap it up here. You're gonna be the last call tonight, man. Well, all right, I'll take one more call, but I'm gonna save your number, friend. We'll be in touch. You have a good night.
You too, man.
All right.
Take care.
All right, take care. All right, caller, you're the last call. I got to get off at 10. I told Sweet Lady I wouldn't be on past 10, so last call and we'll clean it up. How you doing?
Yes, sir. I'm doing all right, man. And I was just curious if you have ever researched the coronavirus patent that is on Google.
Yes, we have looked at that, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they're not invested in that patent, but they're well invested in that company that has that patent, so.
Yeah, the Pear Institute,
Yep.
whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed that there was like 12 countries that applied for they put an application for the patent, and only United States, it says the application is granted and it's active to this date. I was wondering, just have you looked at it or not? I wasn't sure if you have seen it.
I was aware of it. I got to do more research on it, though. You gave me some information there that I didn't know about, so I got to go back and look into that one. That's a good thought.
All right. I appreciate it. Oh, yeah, and as well, it says the application was granted in 2018. And I've checked every day. It says the application status is active to this date. Like, it changes dates every day. And it says anticipated expiration is 7/23/2035.
Huh.
That's the expected expiration of this patent.
Okay. All right.
But I just wanted to throw that out there.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Take care, man.
All right. Yeah, you have a good night. All right, take care. All right, you guys, we'll leave it there. Again, if you got here late, the beginning of the video was me talking about really what this work's all about and what I'm trying to make happen, what I've been trying to make happen all this time, and why the time is now to make the change that needs to happen in this world. There has to, again, people are scared of that word revolution. There has to be a revolution. There has to be a revolution. It's always been revolution or bust. A revolution can happen, and it needs to happen. Otherwise, we're eventually all going to get thrown off the cliff. All right, I have 3 more minutes, so I'll take one last call. I got to be off at 10, though, which is in 3 minutes. Okay, caller, you get to be the last call. What's up?
All right. Check out the gematria between coronavirus and Oakland Athletics.
Well, okay, where are we going with this?
Well, the first 2 ciphers, they're the same values.
Okay.
So I think we could see something. Maybe the first.
Baseball player on the Athletics. Yeah, that is how they do things. So yeah, that very well could happen.
Right, and I guess one more thing. I live in a little bit outside of LA, and I was thinking now that I've gotten laid off actually, and now that things are kind of quieter around town, I was thinking maybe I'd do something like you did, what you did in Yakima and Seattle, and like bringing signs talking about like Kobe and COVID. I mean, how would it?
I wouldn't do the Kobe COVID sign because it's too easy to dismiss, especially since it doesn't work anymore in the calculator since they changed it. But I just go out and just do like Event 201, research Event 201. Have you heard about Event 201? I mean, if people will just look that up, I mean, that's going to open up a lot of eyes. Or if you just did a thing like YouTube Event 201. Because I can't tell you how many people just come by in their cars and they like put up their phone like, okay, we see it, I'm going to look it up. That's all people really need to do for a starting spot. So I would do something like that rather than Kobe equals COVID.
All right, yeah. I mean, the weather isn't really great, so I don't know which. I'll try if it's a sunny day or not raining. I'll try to go out towards LA to do something, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man, but awesome. Yeah, everyone who's in the same boat, I think now's the time. Just, go out on your corner. Go pick up one of those white cardboard boards. They cost like 80 cents. Get a Sharpie marker. Research Event 201, man. The whole world needs to look into this Event 201 thing. So.
Right, I'll let you know if I go through with anything.
All right, man. And again, that's why we got a network. Use that site, freetofindtruth.com. Maybe you can find somebody on there in your computer. You guys can meet up in public at the same spot. I mean, it's easier to do things when it's easier if somebody's by your side to stand on a corner and educate. I mean, it's, it makes it a lot easier rather than being alone, so.
Right. All right. So you said you had to go at 10. I say it's 10 now, so.
Yeah, I better wrap it up,
let
man.
You go.
All right, man. Let me know how that goes.
Thank you.
All right, you take care. All right, have a good night. Yeah, if you've gotten laid off, I mean, that's all the more reason to go out and educate about Event 201, because the reason you're getting laid off and the reason you're getting screwed right now is because another agenda is taking place against us, and it's a big one. And it's meant to, create financial chaos and put people in the poorhouse and in a situation of desperation. We better be hoping right now as a people they aren't about to start a major world war, because that's what they've done throughout history, tank economies and then start wars. And if that's not what they're doing right now, it will be something that they're doing in the not-too-distant future. So we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Thanks again to all the supporters. The top pinned post will be the place where you can support, pledge that $1 a month on the Patreon, or there's other ways to donate if you want. And it's also in the description of each video. So thank you, everyone, for listening. And till next time. See you tomorrow.